Chuck with Ohio Daily here with Ohio Secretary of State Jennifer Brunner. Welcome. This is your event. Three quick questions. I know you've got an appointment to get to. First off, the health care bill, the current status, it's kind of in flux. Last week I asked Lieutenant Governor Lee Fisher if the House should pass the Senate version. He didn't really give the answer. He kind of wanted to leave it up to the Senate or to the House. I'm asking you, do you think the House should pass the Senate version?
No, I don't, because what will happen is it'll still include the very damaging amendments to women's reproductive health, and I don't see any promises to the American people that the reconciliation process would result in an open process that they would be able to actually hear, debate, and see. So it would be more of the behind closed doors, the haggling, the horse trading, and I think we already saw in the Massachusetts election, which I'm not really sure why they talked about health care since they already have health care in Massachusetts, but people want transparency and accountability. I'd suggest we go back to a point where we start looking at Medicare, or we look at the federal health insurance plan and use that as a starting point and start over. I don't say start over, but just take a few steps back and then move forward. You know, they're saying you have to have 60 votes. I understand, to avoid a filibuster, and I understand why they want to take it, the Senate bill through the House and then put it into a conference committee. But the point is that, you know, we saw what the Senate looked like in the confirmation hearings of Clarence Thomas with Anita Hill. It wasn't pretty. One filibuster might actually show the American people a lot of things they didn't know.
You talked earlier this evening about the ruling the Supreme Court made last week. How does this get fixed now? I mean, I know Sherrod Brown today introduced some legislation. What are the key things to you that we need to amend and fix in that ruling?
The first thing we have to do is settle on what, if any, ownership of a domestic corporation can be by a foreign corporation or foreign investors. And in my book, it should be that it's a wholly owned domestic corporation. We may have corporations now who are going to have problems with that, but to say that that a corporation which may be cited right here in Ohio but wholly owned by investors or another country can make political speech to influence our votes in an election, I find to be a huge problem. It was an irregular process which led the court to even decide this issue. The issue wasn't really right, but in the Roberts Court, it's obviously an issue they wanted to get to. They heard that issue come up in the oral argument. They ordered the parties to go rebrief this one issue and then bring it back for further arguments. So we pretty much saw the writing on the wall to where it was going to go. Beyond that, we ought to be looking at disclosure, and we ought to be looking at making sure that there's disclaimer. And it is going to take the objections of the American people to stop this.
Finally, I'll move to a political question. I know it's not a question you want to talk about, but I want to kind of split it into two parts. Your report this month, or for this past quarter, was about $93,000 and some change for the quarter. Overall, I mean, the fundraising, I'm sure you'll agree, is probably a little softer than where you'd like it to be at this point.
Do I want more money? Oh, yeah, I want more money.
How do you win the primary? And are you concerned about the fundraising beyond the primary should you advance to face Rob Portman? Because clearly he's raising money at an obscene rate right now. How does somebody overcome that?
Okay, first question is, how do I win the primary? The way I'm doing it right now. Grassroots, working with people, being very, very smart about the use of the internet. And once the primary is over, the fundraising shouldn't be the problem, but I've learned something in this primary, and that is the independence that I have by not taking money from special interests and not taking large amounts of money from people who are going to expect things in return is going to free me up to be a better U.S. Senator. I look at the young people right now who are looking at the money and what it takes escalating higher and higher and higher, and I say to myself, they're going to think they never can even have the opportunity to run, even if they have the heart to run. I want to prove with this campaign that we can do it a different way, that the President of the United States is not the only one who can raise a lot of money from a lot of people in small amounts that together create an independent-minded office holder. I think we can do it with this Senate campaign, and I want to prove it with this campaign. So even after the primary is over, we're going to continue a very strong grassroots effort. Rob Portman is going to need a lot more money. Number one, he's never been on the statewide ballot. Number two, he has a lot of explaining to do to Ohioans about what he crafted in the trade policies that have wiped away our jobs here in the state of Ohio.
Very good. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Good to see you.